Welcome to another Triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Here we are with another episode of another Triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. As always, we're going to chat about everything going on in the triathlon world, which is a fair bit these days, with, just a little bit of the Tour de France, because we are slightly obsessed with it. And who doesn't love endurance sports in all its forms? But before we jump into the pros and the people breaking records this weekend with some incredible performances, first let's catch up with the crew here. That's just slightly slower than the pros, but we'll start off with you, Josh. How are you doing? What's up in your world?
My world is definitely slower than the pros, for sure. Just got out of the pool and made it back in time to grab my daughter from work and get on the podcast. But I just looked up. I've done 7,500 yards in the last 5 days. So for me, that's moving up there. So I think I had like a 2,500, a 3K, and then tonight was more of a 2K, but fast efforts, 75s, broken 100s. So all out, getting that heart rate up there. But we're really shifting into Chicago focus, but knowing I still have main bike and the Boston Triathlon Olympic distance. So swim, bike, run still there. But as of this morning, I started double sessions. So little 20-minute run in the morning, and that's going to be 5-6 days a week. And then whatever the main set is for the evening. So looking forward to that, hoping the body responds and really building the run volume because, hey, look, next year when I do my next 70.3, if I can get my run down into the 130s, that's huge on the target of getting under 5 hours. So it's all part of the master plan, and then hopefully BQing in October. So right now, I'm staying healthy. Had my annual physical today. All my labs came back great. It's fun to watch the trends in the last few years. Go triathlon.
In the right direction.
Right. So it's been a really good block. Had a great outdoor bike ride yesterday and a little short run after that. But fully heat trained, and that is definitely showing. I did a treadmill run and was able to push some higher paces with heart rates that didn't go anywhere. Get a little fan on, get a little dehumidifier on, and wow, look at that. If you have nice conditions, this is what you can do.
It makes a massive difference.
Amazing. So yeah, it's been going well, and I'm really excited about what's to come in the next couple months, and then it's going to be a summer and fall build to Chicago for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, that run frequency really does a lot. Even like those aerobic easy miles, they count for a ton. Running doesn't have to be like going hard all the time. And I just put up a social media post last week saying like most triathletes are always in that gray zone, that hard-ish zone. But putting in some run frequency to really dial in that neuromuscular connection, make sure that you're spending time on your feet in that zone 2 will really boost you up, especially for a marathon. That is absolutely the foundation of it.
And that's the part that we're working on right now. A lot of it is that fat max stuff that I had knowledge of coming out of Arizona. We're kind of getting back into that as the build for Chicago comes about. And it's just a reminder everyone in my situation, look, I've been racing in triathlon just over 2 years now, and I've come a long way, but that's all thanks to having a coach. So if you don't have a coach, and I've seen a lot of posts recently, like what are the tools and tricks and like, what would you do if you could get 5 things, or what are your top 5 things? The number one suggestion is get a coach. And start there. There's no way I'm doing 7,500 yards in 3 days without a coach, or in 5 days without a coach, because the sessions are broke down to give you what you need, and there's always a purpose, and it breaks it up so that it isn't monotonous and just going out and doing 1,000 straight, 1,500 straight. There's a lot of things that coaches put into it. So people like Jenna and Fede are there for a reason. So my suggestion to all new age groupers is to find a coach and then start adding the tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And, slightly biased as a coach, but as a coach, I've had my own coach since pretty much day one, 11 years ago. And I tell him I want to do all sorts of crazy stuff. And he's like, okay, cool, we'll get you there. And it's nice beyond, obviously, I know how to program the training and write the sessions, but having that little extra accountability by someone who cares or knows if you do the sessions or not, and getting that outside perspective, because sometimes we can be way too close to it. Sometimes the coach's job is just to tell you to chill and back off a little bit. And sometimes it's to boost you up and say, hey, like now's the time to really put in the solid work. So having that outside perspective, I think, is the most invaluable thing, and why I still have a coach all these years, and he's not ever allowed to quit, because you kind of, if you really buy into the process and the person you're working with, incredible things can happen for sure.
Yeah, she's my coach is definitely giving me the full on unsolicited and unfiltered feedback at times recently, because we know where the goals are at, and now that I've gotten to this point, she knows when to push and when to give me some good criticism on sessions and things like that. And I told her right away today, I was like, look, I got in for that first 500 warm up and I felt sluggish. And I know she had a week or so recently where she had felt like that in the pool. And I was like, but I got through the entire workout. And having that coach knowing I got to get this work done. I got to do this work. Exactly. I got to get that green check. Everything's got to be done. Every 75, every 25's got to be done. It's a huge push. And if you're just going to the pool and all right, well, maybe that session becomes 1,200 or 1,500 instead of 2,000. So yeah, it's a big thing. And then it's just making sure, were you sluggish or were you overworked? So those conversations are great to have there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, love to hear it. And sounds like you're going to be ready there for Chicago and have a great race, as you've been having PRs all over the place anyways, with all the time and effort you've been putting in. It just goes to show the overriding determiner of success in endurance sports, just consistency and putting in the work over time. Nothing crazy or hero workouts all the time. It's just keep it steady and keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Fed? How's the VO2 training?
Oh, man, I was just listening to you guys and listening to Jen about getting the body ready and not training in that gray zone. And fortunately, I've been doing my easy stuff very easy, and so that I can then go out and push hard when I need to push hard. And it's been, man, I've missed, though I have a love-hate relationship with like VO2 type of work, because I don't know, probably the listeners can relate and you guys can relate, but those 40-20, 30-30 look so easy on paper, and then by the middle of the set, you're shaking, you're dizzy, you don't know what day of the week it is, you just want the sweet relief of death to come. And but yeah, enjoying those and chipping away.
Talk about endurance sports. It's so accurate.
Yeah.
You're gonna scare off all the new triathletes, but that is
this just happens to me. Don't get scared, new triathletes. This is just just happens to me. I'm the only one who feels that's gonna die. It's the altitude, it's the altitude, the lack of oxygen that makes me feel like this. But no, enjoying it, and it's amazing how quickly the body responds when you've been training for a while. The body has memory, and I know that probably for the new triathlete this is not relatable, but for us who have been doing it for a while, I feel that I'm advancing in a higher rate than I would be when I was a new triathlete. So it's nice. It's good for the ego that I know that I'm going to be back fit and ready sooner than later. And I got an email today that the 70.3 Worlds course got revealed. So that was an extra motivation today. And happy to be training towards that at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's such a good point too. Once you have those years of base underneath you, you get to that point where you're almost robust enough that you can jump into anything. And that is such a fun place to be. And sometimes you need that little reminder. And unfortunately, injury is not the best way to have that, but just goes to show that those years of fitness don't go away after you take off a few months because of injury or having life getting in the way. You always kind of have that there. So it makes the comeback much easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What about you, Jenna? What's been happening?
I had one of those workouts that felt exactly like what you just described.
Awesome.
So it was hitting close to home when you were describing those sensations. I'm racing a duathlon next weekend. So this weekend, I got to do a fun little test brick session there with a run with a bit of threshold to start, and then a bike with 2 by 20 minutes of threshold, and then a run with 20 minutes of threshold. So yeah, that you described perfectly how that felt during it. Um, and it's funny because those sessions are more than the physical side of it. It's a good opportunity to work on kind of the mental toughness side of it, because I find with me, it's so much easier to push myself. If there's people around me, if I'm hunting people down or trying to hang on, I find it 1,000 times easier to go into that like suffering pain zone kind of thing, like just set a target on someone's back and chase them down kind of deal.
Yeah.
Taking in my basement is so much harder to get to those zones because there's no finish line at the end. It's just kind of, okay, step off the bike and go take the family to the lake and hang out and stuff. So those sessions are a really good opportunity to start to look at not only how your body responds, but I always tell athletes to, when you get into those hard workouts where you're really just suffering and you don't want to do it, maybe you're fatigued from the emotional or work stress or whatever going on in the day, start to pay attention to what your head says to you in those moments. Start to really focus in on what you start telling yourself when you get to those points where it's, I can either keep pushing and get through this because you're physically capable of doing it, but is your head on your side or not? Which sounds kind of funny to say, but a lot of times you can start to get into that negative feedback loop, and then you tighten up and then you're not moving as fluidly. What these sessions are great for is to learn how to relax into the discomfort and just accept, this is uncomfortable. This is hard. I'm breathing heavy. This doesn't feel good. And if you learn to just kind of accept it, start to count those steps, start to get back into that rhythm, everything gets so much easier instead of getting into that negative loop saying, I suck, I can't do this, this is hard. Just things go downhill from there. So if you do have those hard sessions, great opportunity just to figure out first how you respond to it, what your head is saying to you, and then start to come up with tools to combat that in the moment. Because if you're trying to figure out how to deal with it when your head goes south on race day, it's way too late at that moment. So yeah, definitely take those opportunities.
And I think that session that you just mentioned too, Jenna, with the 2 by 20, it's those longer threshold intervals on the bike or even on the run. Those are the ones where the thoughts are coming. And if you're doing the 30 by 30s and the 40 by 20, those are, you're in and out of thoughts. You don't even have a time to think. You're just trying to catch your breath. Whereas those long threshold intervals are the ones that you want to pay attention to, because I sent you guys my 3 by 15 and then I was looking forward to the 8 by 30 sprints at the end. And I was like, getting through the 3 by 15, it was like, all right, I got through by the first one. And then it was like, do I up the watts for the second one? And then I was like, all right, no, I'm going to leave it here. But then I upped it for the third one. So it was like having those conversations as you settle down. And that's exactly what it was. And Fetty talked about jumping into, you guys just mentioned jumping into something new. I totally forgot. I just signed up for my first 1 mile road race through the USA. USATF is one right in Hopkinton, where the marathon starts, right across the street from my office. There's a 1 mile loop around the high school in Hopkinton. And so I'm in the Masters field, officially a member, and going to see what I got.
That's awesome. That'll be a blast.
Week before Maine, so that's coming up in 2 weekends.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Also, wanted to add on that note, Jen and Josh, it's very important that athletes respect progression and build up. Like for instance, I wouldn't be able to do the 2 by 20 that Jenna did because I'm gradually building towards that. And even though if once I could do those sessions fairly comfortable and at a specific wattage or whatever, it does not mean that I can't go back into those right now. That's why I'm in 30-30s, 40-20s, building the engine back again, so that when I go back and do those sessions, I can benefit 100% from those. Because maybe I could do the 2x20, but then I would be completely tired the next day. I wouldn't be able to do it over and over again. And we know there's no secret recipe, just consistency. And in order for, I mean, it's going to sound a little silly, but in order for you to perform at a high level, you need to be able to be fit enough to absorb the training. And how do you get there? By doing the boring long miles, and then the VO2, and then move up to the threshold and race intensity. Everything is there for a reason. And that's why I also believe having a coach is very important, because then you do what feels good at the moment, and then you're just not improving and just plateauing, all the time.
You know, you could not have said that better. That is exactly it. So much of it. Well, let's jump into some of the pros. I think follow some of the same strategies in there. We had a race where I'm guessing there were some threshold sessions in the build-up, because there were records broken across the field. So, Fede, why don't you tell us what went down at Challenge Roth?
Oh my God! I mean, what a race! Both world records were crushed, both men and women's. But we knew that Magnus and Haug were the big favorites, and we picked different because we wanted to make things interesting. So I just want to, for our little fantasy league, just give us a win for the three of us, because we picked the right guys. But no, it was amazing to see, and what a performance from Magnus. This is one guy who has been consistently doing the right thing at the right time, and he doesn't shy away from sharing what he does. He's very open, and yes, he might hide his power file on Strava so that his rivals don't figure out his CDA and all of that stuff, but we know he pushes a lot of wattage, and that he has been struggling with the run in the past few years, but he figured it out. And it was so refreshing. I mean, I was so happy that he was running on a super shoe that we all could buy at a store, and not a prototype or 5 carbon fiber plate shoe that would have had a big question mark for the run. And the fact that he delivered a 2:34 marathon is amazing. He's a big unit. I don't know. I think, Josh, you're like 6'2" ish, right?
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
Yeah, so he's like 6'4", 6'5", and he moves so fast. It's just amazing to me how quickly because it's one thing for a smaller guy like myself to deliver quick run times, but to have like a big unit like Magnus push so hard on the bike and then so hard on the run was just amazing to see.
You're forgetting about the most important part, because I was able to go to sleep a little earlier and figure I could watch the race in the morning when I woke up, because it started about 12:35 my time. He was like 6 foot. Like he was right there in the swim. And I was like, all right, forget about Lucas. We all knew Lucas was going to win the swim, right? But he was right there in the swim. And I was like, these guys got out of the water. And like, oh crap, the day's over. Like, bye, Magnus.
Yeah, I mean, Roth is a very, very, very swimmer-friendly course. I mean, it's like a point-to-point, and it's very straightforward. You have the canal to sight. And yeah, like you said, Josh, he has been working so hard. And the fact that he was right there on the swim just proved that he is fit as a fiddle right now. We'll have to wait and see if he can hold to that form come October or Kona. But I don't see anybody that's faster than him on the long distance right now than Magnus, and just an incredible performance by him. Second place was Tom Bishop from Great Britain, who he's also a very hard worker, and was very happy to see him on the podium. And on third place, we have the B-man, Rudy B. Berg, coming in third place, who was very, very good to see for the Americans, an American right there on the podium. But yeah, this race looks electric. Soderbergh Hill, I had FOMO. I think I'm going to sign up for the lottery for next year. It looks so good. And the fact that there's no Kona next year makes things so much easier for me. I don't have to decide. So I just can go full in into Roth.
Oh, good. But before we jump onto the women's side, Patrick Lange, that was crazy to see. He got kicked in the ribs on the swim and was in too much pain to continue on, which craziness.
Yeah.
It's really a shame to see.
I mean, yeah, it was wild to watch his post, and also Daniel Beckegaard, he had a crash and couldn't continue the race, so it was a shame for those two guys. I mean, people say triathlon is not a contact sport. However, on the swim, it's anything goes. I've seen boxing matches who have had less injuries than a swim start during a triathlon. So, hope Patrick is well. Racing at that high level, a minor bruise may mean that he could not sustain the effort that he needed to. And he had big ambitions towards the run course. So, yeah, just hope he's okay, and maybe he can channel into that energy and deliver a super quick marathon come October.
There we go, a little extra fire to get after it.
100%. But I wanted to talk about more than the men's race, about Annie Haug's performance.
Oh, man.
My God.
Talk about goodbye.
Unreal.
I mean, we have covered races when there's 5 minutes difference from first place to second place, or 10 8 minutes, but those are like tier B races, no disrespect to the athletes. But the fact that Annie put 11 minutes and 35 seconds into Laura Philipp, I mean, that's telling you something.
Oh, absolutely unreal. And her run, what was it, like a 2:34? Was that it? That absolutely unreal. Like, I know it wasn't too long ago in the 2010s where Miranda Carfrae's like breaking 250 was something that was just unheard of kind of thing. And now 2:34, and it looks like the course was pretty close to accurate, like 500 or 600 meters off. So, oh man. I mean, there's super shoes, and then there's just being incredibly, unbelievably fit. And her running is beautiful to watch. It is crazy.
And it's not like there were weak cyclists there. I mean, there was Els Visser, who came in third place. Laura Philipp herself, she's a super strong cyclist. And Annie showed a different level also on the bike. Like Magnus on the swim, Annie showed that he could actually ride a bike. And it's not, I mean, it's a course that's not made for super light athletes like Annie. Bigger guys like Magnus could benefit a bit more because the uphills are not at a super steep gradient, and they can benefit on the downhills and then push the power coming down. Whereas someone like Annie, she would have had to push hard on the uphills and fight gravity to maintain inertia coming down. So the fact that she rode super hard and then delivered that marathon, I mean, I don't see anybody coming near her in Nice.
How long do you think she was out there on the bike and into the early stages of the run thinking sub 8? Like, I mean, she was so close. I mean, I wonder how many people yelled at her. Like, God.
Probably she still thinks about it right now, because she was 2 minutes and some change away from being the first woman going sub 8 on a official course, and that would have broken the entire triathlon community.
I can't remember where I saw it, but I think someone broke down kind of the splits where she was in relation to the previous world record, and it was only the last half marathon where she got ahead of the time. Like, she was behind it all day, but just having that ability to run that fast in the back half of the marathon just absolutely destroyed the record. Like, she was chasing all day. I'm sure no one thought at that point, that it would be, but she demolished it. Like, that is just seriously crazy impressive.
And also on a generic super shoe that we could get off the shelf, nothing fancy. Not to say that these shoes aren't fancy, because they are, and they make running a lot more easier for all of us. But yeah, I was just happy to see that none of the athletes who won were wearing any, prototype or anything that gave them a bit more advantage from the rest of the field.
They weren't wearing the one-use shoes for like
No.
600 euros.
No.
Oh, craziness. No, that was just incredible to see. And you know, you want to say it might be a while till that's broken, but like the rate that the women professionals especially are improving, because, you know, there have been less females kind of racing traditionally over the years, but now there's a lot more investment in the sport, and just seeing women's racing has just been incredible and so fun to watch over the past few years, that I think they're getting a lot more recognition and resources, and it's very cool to see. And that level just keeps going up and up and up, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if Annie wasn't thinking about sub 8 before the race, I bet you she's thinking about it right now.
Roth 2025.
She didn't have to get in line with everyone at the crack of dawn who had to sleep overnight to get those first 1,000 bibs for next year.
Yeah, I mean, imagine next year, anyhow, going sub 8 at Roth and then winning Kona. That's like the perfect. I mean, I'm not retiring her, but that would be like the perfect story for her.
That would be incredible to see. Love to see it too. Oh, he's so good. Yeah, that race definitely got me fired up this weekend, just seeing such incredible performances. And it sounds like the age group field, as always, had an incredible time. That race is absolutely legendary. And yeah, one I need to do too. Maybe we'll plan in the future here a ATP Challenge Roth showdown.
Probably. What about Challenge Roth being the first long distance triathlon for Josh? That would be like a good, like a huge flex on everyone.
My wife just stared at you, Fetty. It is an amazing race, and I actually had, speaking of bees, I actually had one of the local Boston triathletes who's a badass age grouper. He was looking forward to a great race. Got stung by a bee in the neck on the bike, and we all hear about how amazing the volunteers and everyone are. Most of these races, and Roth is just next level. He was saved by a volunteer who happened to have Benadryl and allowed him to be able to open up his throat enough until the ambulance got there 5 minutes later, which is like crazy. So you hear all these stories about these races in Roth and things like that. But I saw a picture that I think Belinda put up today. Is like, you would never know there was thousands and thousands of spectators and runners here on the run course, and it looks pristine. You would never know there was anything. And there's over 300,000 people were in Roth yesterday along the course. It's insane what they pull off on that race.
Mm-hmm. Seriously impressive. We got to roll into some of the fun stuff here. Let's get started with you, Josh. What do you got for social media post of the week?
Well, like we mentioned earlier, the Tour de France is always at the top of our minds, and every morning it's been on TV here, and it's just been really cool to watch, and so many awesome performances. But one of the things that you get out of it, and I think I mentioned this even last year during the tour, is make sure you follow UAE Team Emirates page. They've got all the giveaways that they're doing on a daily basis, but they also have some amazing content. I mean, if you can believe it, these guys ride 4 or 5 hours every day with 1 or 2 short time trials in there. And sure enough, on their day off, they're out riding. And UAE was out riding today, and they had a spoof that they put together, and Tade took a phone call from a banana or something like that. So their page is really cool. They've got a lot of good information, and just being able to see what Tade's like as a human being and things like that. It's just unbelievable how generous he is to all the other athletes out there, the kids that he meets, and their page is one to follow. So check it out if you haven't already, especially this time of year.
You know, it just seems like he loves going out and riding his bicycle. And you know what? I don't know how much of it is the psychological talk or trying to psych out the other competitors, but every race when he does his interviews, like, yeah, it was a fun day out there. Like, oh my God. Like, everyone's just dying. He's like, oh, that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
After that gravel too, it was fun. It was interesting. I did my ride yesterday. It was, I I just happened to do a rail trail, and most of it around here, they're not finished. They're not paved. So I was like, and I just finished watching the tour, and I was like, here I am out in the gravel. It's like, I didn't bring my dust cloth or anything like that, but it felt pretty cool to do that. I mean, what a race that was yesterday in the gravel. But and the other thing I thought was interesting with Tade this week too, and most of them, they always jump right on their bike after and spin out their legs and flush it out. The day before the TT, these guys were all hopping on their TT bikes. And just to get that little extra 10, 15 minutes in that position before they had to go all out for 30 minutes the next day, which was really interesting to see. It wasn't just about flushing the legs. It was also about getting in that body position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ready to go again, because there's definitely different muscle utilization when you're going from TT to road bike. So just getting used to that a little bit is good. That gravel stage, though, it was so good. And I got to give a little shout out with Derek G getting third place, Canadian on the Israel Premier Tech, which was awesome to see. And okay, little plug here, but Belgian Waffle Ride BC in Victoria there, September 22nd, they're doing a promo for the Tour de France gravel stage. So if anyone wants to go have some fun on some gravel riding over in British Columbia, it's going to be a pretty epic race. But also, so this was almost my what the F, was Jonas Vingegaard. He rode 100 kilometers that race on somebody else's bike. Like, it was so funny when you see the cameras come to the side and you see his teammate standing there with a bike and like shooing away a tire. He's like, no, I want another bike. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And you see Jonas is on an entirely different bike. So that is badass to race in those kind of conditions. It's hard enough being on a road bike, like on the pavement on someone else's bike, never mind dealing with the gravel conditions. And there was a whole lot of trash talk today, which was fun, with some saying he didn't have the balls to really race it. But you know what? You're riding someone else's bike for 100 kilometers and you just survived a crash that put you into the hospital for 6 weeks. He's playing the smart game, I think. But that gravel stage was awesome.
He still answered Tade every time too. Like, I mean, Tade went, 3-4 times where he tried to go just to see if Jonas could stick with him on somebody else's bike. And they talked about like the saddle height was close. They know how much it was off, but it wasn't exact by any means. We all know how important bike fits. We talk about it all the time. And to ride that long and to get Tade throwing 600 watts down and you have to chase him like on gravel. And it was a really cool race to see, and Remco and him going. I mean, they were just back and forth, all testing each other.
You know what that says to me, though? I love Roglic so much, but I don't think they're all too worried about Roglic, because they definitely had the opportunity. They could have put minutes into him today, and they're just like, no. So that, man, it'd be fun to see him come in the high mountains and really do something there, but I don't seem too worried about him. But we will go on to my what the F is Tour de France focused as well, because how can you not these days? They had one on the time trial stage of the Tour de France. One of the athletes in there, he decided to go hard off the front so that he would have a little bit of time, since they were racing on his home roads. So he'd have enough time to pull over and give his family and kid a kiss. And that was Julian Bernard, who pulled over to do it. And in a UCI doing very UCI things, they ended up giving him a fine for doing it. But if you haven't seen this clip, it is such an incredible moment where you see everyone from the course kind of converge, and he's just so happy to see his family and just see everyone around. Like, being able to ride the Tour de France on your local roads is something that most people never ever get the chance to experience. But you know what? He played it right. He went hard from the front, made sure he'd be out of the way before anyone else came in. It's not like he soft pedaled and the guy behind him was coming. So it's really just a shame that he got a fine for it. I could see if something happened where he was impeding another rider, fine, yeah, fair. But you're way at the back of the pack where these guys aren't really contending for the top spots in the time trial, and he didn't get in anyone's way. And Tour de France and UCI will still put that video out everywhere for the clicks, even though they're giving him a fine in the background, which is what the F. What did you think?
I mean, it got onto the cover of ESPN. It was all over, and it was publicity, but it was the all of the articles were focused on the fine and the WTF, not the like like even like watching Lance Armstrong's reaction to him actually doing it that day of was like, WTF, but okay, whatever. Nobody's really worried about you this year. But then the fine, it's like, no, Lance is like, no, we're with you. Like that, you should not be getting fined. Like UCI, what are you doing? This is not how you make news. And
well,
it was a real, and you mentioned it too, like that whole climb from the beginning of the climb all the way up to when he gets to his wife is pretty much the culmination of it. Like it was amazing watching the crowds and then looking and reading the road and his name everywhere and different initials. And I mean, it was really cool. It was like Challenge Roth for just one guy.
Yeah, totally. No, and these are the moments where if you want to grow a sport, if you want to get people to fall in love with cycling, these are the moments that do it, not some skinny guys in Lycra climbing up a mountain. Like moments like this where you really have the heart, the emotion, the passion for it. That's what gets you on the cover of ESPN and stuff, where no other stage or anything is going to really make a dent, especially in these markets that cycling's not a big thing like in North America. So I don't know, as long as no one's being impeded and no one got hurt, it's something that should be, kind of celebrated as something cool, something that really tugs on the heartstrings and gets people excited about the Tour de France and cycling, because there's lots of hardcore cycling fans and they'll watch the Tour de France. We want to help grow these endurance sports so that people outside of that are reached and get into the sport and fall in love with it, because there's something incredible about these. Like, it really is.
Yeah, and I think another, speaking of growing the sport and negative news, and I just happened to catch Jack's little quick 20-minute episode that he put out on the Triathlon Hour. We've had Mark Dubrick on the show, and Jackson and Nick Chase. They're all at the forefront of this, and Mark's been putting out some posts recently, but they haven't been paid by Challenge Salinas specifically. So it is a franchise owned by Challenge family is the big brand. It is still a brand, but these franchise contracts are set up that the owners of each race are responsible for the payments of the pros, and these guys now are going on 8 months of not being paid. The race was in December 2023. So Jack put out a kind of a quick hit episode, and there are people trying to get them paid. But the real message from Jack seems to be, look, Challenge, step up and pay. And then you guys deal with the legalities with the owner, Pedro, at Challenge Salinas. So another little sidebar, WTF, because like that's ridiculous. These guys picked this race, chose this race, raced well, earned their money, and haven't been paid. And there's 5 or 6 or 7 of them that haven't been paid yet.
And it's so unfortunate too, because it's not on the pros for anything. They went out there, they put on the performance, they did the work, and it sounds like some of the staff from the race hasn't been paid as well. And unfortunately, in my experience, having worked for a big cycling event that was licensed out and the licensee ended up running it, I kind of ran into the same situation where I never saw the funds from that, and the big overreaching, I guess, company or name in there, just more times than not, they just wave it off and they're like, we're big enough without it. Not to say that's going to be the case with Challenge, but that's why they do license out the races, is so that they don't have the financial liability of these situations. So yeah, hopefully for the professionals, like, they put so much into the sport, hopefully they do get paid. It sounds like a bunch of the local athletes who raced it did get paid, which kind of adds another layer of interest to the whole ordeal. But these days, transferring funds internationally is not really a hard thing to do. So I can't imagine that's a legitimate excuse there. But it would be good to see Challenge kind of step up and pay that out, because it does look bad on them. But yeah, it's just an unfortunate situation. Hopefully the attention brought to it will mean that those athletes do get paid for the effort and time they put in, because you shouldn't have to pay to do work at the end of the day.
No, we're trying to get the pros more limelight, more notoriety, more knowledge in this sport. And you're coming off a weekend of Roth where it was such a cool event, and every triathlete in the world is watching their counterparts who were racing this weekend, and pretty much all the limelight was there. So that race is unbelievable. Like, although I am a little scared, we talk about doing this, I'm a little scared of that age group swim start, because that seemed like, you want to talk about getting kicked in the ribs. Oh my gosh, that channel was packed.
I don't think you ever experienced it, but the mass starts were something else. It like 2,000 to 3,000 people just running in at the exact same time because your timer started as soon as the gun went, regardless of when you got in the water. So
I've had a 65-person mass start. That's my biggest.
Yeah, got fat lips, black eyes. It was like a man.
I just had a friend send me that training video. She's like, "You should incorporate this into your training."
It goes around forever. Yeah, that thing's from like
Get the
the
pool
early
clothes on and start whacking American Gladiator style.
and that is so much easier than what it felt like in those mass starts. Yeah, no, definitely all for. And then they went to wave starts, which was a little bit better and still do at some races. But I love the starting every few seconds in there, like just kind of the rolling starts are much more pleasant. Although it has screwed me over a couple times with race results, thinking you're in front and then you're not. But
it is definitely hard to figure out where you are on the course, especially if you're not sliding yourself up as far as you should be either. So another note in the rolling start is slot yourself up where you think you could be on a good day.
Go a little bit faster than that because everybody does that. So
you don't want to be passing people that you could swim around and then have to bike around and all that. So
definitely. Well, actually, bring this out of the blue here, Josh, but you mentioned it before we got started. We have another Super League team was announced. So it looks like we're going to have the Brownlee stick around in triathlon for a while in one form or another. If it's not the Olympics, they are going to be doing the Brownlee racing team at Super Tri. So that was really exciting to see.
That was a really cool announcement. I don't think we expected it by any means. And that came out of nowhere. So kudos to the Brownlee brothers for stepping up and being the fourth franchise. Again, another franchise in Super Tri. And we're actually also in the works with getting some of the players in the Super Tri League ahead of Boston in the August 18th race to come on the podcast too. So hopefully we'll get some members from each team and one of the members from Super Tri itself and have a good episode for you guys all to listen to. And if you haven't really had a chance to look into Super Tri, we'll get you a good episode there.
Yeah, it'll be good to see. Curious to see how this all shakes out with the actual racing at the end of the day. Yeah, it seems like a number of the teams are very U.S. focused, but they're going to have athletes from different federations and should be just good, fun, fast racing. That's what I love to see with the Super Tri events. But we're going to go a little bit longer than Super Tri with the next race up in the Ironman Pro Series. We've got Ironman Vitoria Gasteiz. I'm going to say that sounds almost like it could be.
That's got to be close, right?
Ironman
Vitoria.
There we go. So we've got another Ironman Pro Series race coming on, and we're starting to count down on how many of these are actually left in this series when you go for Ironman distance. I think we got Lake Placid the week after. And then we got the Ironman European Championships on August 18th in Frankfurt. And I think that's about it until the World Championship Series. So really 3 races left for the pros to get their full Ironman points. And if you guys haven't been following too closely on this series, the pros will do a number of races. I think it's up to 5 count towards their points, and up to 3 of them can be Ironmans. And the Ironmans are more heavily weighted with bigger points compared to 70.3s. So this weekend, let's take a look who is going into Ironman Vitoria Gasteiz. We've got the start list here. And on the women's side, we've got Gertrude Paredes, Kat Matthews, Els Visser, Daniela Blamel, Barbara Barros, Simone Mitchell, Ruth Astle, Elisabetta Curiadori, let's see, and a number of other pros there. And then actually we'll start with the women's here before we jump into the men's. So this one definitely not as stacked. What I'm starting to see with the pro series is if you want to have some good points and rankings, get out of North America. Like it really seems to be, we had really hard hitouts at the beginning with Oceanside, especially where there's tons of competition and all of the races kind of outside of North America are a little bit softer. Especially with the time of year, because all of them kind of coincide and intermingle with the T100 series too. So this weekend, a little bit of a softer field, I will say. But Josh, what do you think? Who's got it this weekend?
I mean, I feel like we got to do the same thing we did last weekend with Roth, because there's one Cat Matthews, and then we got everyone else. So nothing against anyone else. And that other one of those other else's is Els Visser, who's probably not racing. But who knows if she's going to do a back-to-back full Ironman, full distance race. So
I mean, it would not surprise me. That woman is tough as nails mentally and physically, it seems like.
And she could go back-to-back podium, which is unbelievable. Yeah. So she was my wild card pick last week and finished third. Rudy was my wild card pick and finished third as well. So
hey, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, let's get rid of Kat. But how about Ruth Astley coming from P9 up to at least the podium?
Coming back from injury, get it done on the day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Danielle Blamel, see what she can do out there. Although it really wouldn't surprise me if Els Visser went back to back and had a great day out there. Like, it just would not. She's raced a ton. Like, I feel like she's on like every start list, but actually racing it and getting results in there too, which is seriously impressive. Yeah,
she's been very good all year, and like you said, raced probably 7, 8, 9 times now. I mean, it's crazy, and not just 70.3s either.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, well, let's go into the men's side here. We have got, oh my goodness,
we have the same thing.
Sam Laidlow, Robert Wilkowicki, Christian Hogenhaug, Antonio Benito Lopez, David McNamee, Matthias Peterson, Arthur Horso, Ante Costas, Jesper Svensson, Cam Werf, who, of course, Bradley Weiss, Andreas Straits. Let's see here. So we got a few more names in here, but kind of the same deal where if you want a little less stacked, we'll see. What do you think, Josh?
So I'm guessing Sam's gonna show up and actually run away with this one, and see how many of those 5,000 points he can put away before the next guy comes in. But
see, honestly, I don't think this one is a full blowout across the field. There, he's been so
we haven't seen it from him yet.
Hot and cold, like there's just been nothing really this year so far.
And does he have plans to do London, or is he not on that start list? I don't know. I know Paula Finley pulled out and actually gave a nice, good reason for it, because we've seen a lot of people pulling out without reason and rhyme and reason to it. But, I mean, you look down at Cam did not do Roth, and he's been in shape and been so. If I'm going to go with an outsider, not Sam Laidlow, I'm going to go with Cam Werf.
Okay. Seeing if so Sam Laidlow is on the T100 race, so really, man, these T100
didn't do San Francisco,
and then doing an Ironman right before a T100 race, like, oof.
Yeah,
and you definitely see the difference between the pros who are kind of going after it and not. But okay, so let's go in here. You know what? I would love to see someone who is always underrated and somehow just has Kona as his place. But David McNamee, he had like 3 Kona performances in a row where he was super solid, up on that podium, really contending in there. So when he has a good day, he has a really good day. It just doesn't always happen outside of Kona. So I'm going to go with him, see if we can get it done on the day there. It'd be great to see.
I like that pick. No, that is a good one, and Robert Wilkowicki as well. I think could have a good showing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, now that we're talking about the Pro Series, let's see who is at the top of the rankings for right now. Let me see here. So overall standings so far, and really, it's not what you would think here. Let me make sure I have the right one.
I just steal Stage Nielsen is what I've been. Yep.
Yeah, so number 1, we got Maya Stage Nielsen. We got Kylie Simpson in 2nd, Vanilla Langridge, Jackie Herring in 4th, and Lottie Williams in 5th. So really, you know what? I don't think anyone at the start of this series would have called that so far this year, which has been fun to see that it's not entirely predictable. And you go over to the men's side, and it's more of the same. Right? Like, who would have thought Patrick Lange wouldn't be at the head of the series right now, or like a Lionel Sanders right up there contending. It really has not turned out the way we thought, but Matt Hansen absolutely crushing it here. And we got Jackson Laundry over in second place, Colin Schutz in third, Paul Schuster fourth, Patrick Langer in fifth. Like, it really is not what you would expect, even if you look at the top 10 in there. So it's fun to see something a little bit different, but as we all know, that World Championships is going to have a lot more points, and we're not at a point where many athletes have done 3 Ironman races yet, so I'll be curious to see how that changes up. But like even Matt Hansen, he's only got 1 Ironman in there for those 10,000 points, so it's not like he's just going crushing Ironmans and only doing 70.3s outside of it. So yeah, curious to actually with that, I'm more surprised don't see more names in these Ironman lists.
So and like you said earlier, we're running out of options to get that 5,000 point day.
Yeah, I don't think they have the start list up for what's the next Ironman there in North America.
It's going to be Lake Placid.
Yeah, I don't think they have the start list there, but I'm guessing that is going to be stacked for this series. Like, I think it's totally a thing of you need to show up to the not North American races to just collect points, because all like the people in the top of this list, they've had good performances, but they're not dominating every race by any means whatsoever. So yeah, I'd be curious to see. I really want to see that start list for the next one.
Lake Placid's going to be stacked. I mean, everyone's going to be there. It's the 25th anniversary. I mean, it's a big year all around for Placid.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that'll be a big determining point where this pro race series goes, with only Frankfurt after that for Ironmans before we go into the championship season. Awesome.
Getting there.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there anything else in this wild world of triathlon that you wanted to bring up before we close it out here, Josh?
No, just go get a coach.
There we go. Sage advice, as always. Unfortunately, we lost one coach on this call a little while ago. His internet connection wasn't the best in there, but he always provides some great insight as well. So for myself, Josh, and Fede, have a great night if you're listening to then, and have a great workout. We will talk to you guys again soon.
Have a good one.